Hi, welcome to the NBA Economy Show. This is Fritz. Again, breaking news. The news I was been anticipating. I'm kind of shocked. Tom Thibodeau was fired. My personal opinion is that he should have been let go. Um, but at the same time, I am still shocked. This is a front office that moves together. It's not like an employer-employee relationship. A lot of times they say they're like friends, they're like brothers. So the normal rules do not apply in employment in those type of situations. Those type of situations, it's really tough to let go of someone. And I think for Tom Thibodeau, his accomplishments, he had an amazing feat with the New York Knicks. I think this is his best NBA coaching gig. He took us from the bottom and he brought us to a place where we can say that we are contenders. And he had one shot at it. This is something that we've said from day one. We said, hey, we're going to have a starter coach and we're going to let him bring the team up. We thought it was going to be 3, 4 years, but we're in year five, and that he would have a shot at the title, and then we would move on to a more advanced coach. In no way am I saying that Tom Thibodeau is a bad coach. I think a lot of people on Twitter get this messed up. I think they say, "Hey, we need to fire Tibbs. He's a garbage coach." Absolutely not. My reasonings on why I thought Tom Thibodeau should be let go is a lot different than what some of these other people think that Tom Thibodeau should be let go. They want to blame Tom Thibodeau for things that happen. They want to nitpick small situations. They want to nitpick the outcome. That's not where I'm at. My thoughts is I was always thinking about the big picture. The big picture. Where are we going forward? I think Tom Thibodeau, from the beginning, brought hard work as a focus, and he squeezed every ounce out of these teams. There's only so much there when you have low skill teams. When you squeeze every ounce out of them, get a great result. Now, when you get to the elite players, you need to make their lives easier. You don't need to just push them harder. And I think the scheming, the schematics on making their lives easier is something I think Thibodeau uh, struggled in because he knew his way. And right now, we need someone who can take Carl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and get the best out of them, and not just pushing them harder. We need someone to make the X and the O's line up, and I think that's where he struggled. I think from I'm not even looking at the postseason. A lot of people are nitpicking. He substituted this person at this minute. I don't think that was it. Um, I think you look at how he managed the team for 82 games. This was never going to work with a superstar. This was never going to work with a championship team. Um, Pushing everybody to the minute limit isn't the way. I think moves last offseason, I think he kind of mismanaged it. The Knicks went into last draft with two first round picks, and we know that Leon did his, he did his magic. He did his thing, and he came out of the draft with four players that they adamant were these are first round talents. Okay, those those four talents, if they're first round talent, should be on the fast track on trying to implement them into the offense. I know they had to go through the Deuce workout program going to Westchester, but if it's only a couple minutes a game, if it's you had to you had to give them value. You the Knicks gave five for Mikel. Like this is what you're working with. You're working with these four guys to make them valuable, and he just never made them valuable. And then we got to the playoffs. He didn't use any of them. He didn't use any of them, and it made it a waste. If that was the case, you should have got just the two first rounders instead of like juggling. Um, Also, the Knicks, Carl Anthony Towns, the way the trade went down, the last minute training camp didn't have training camp. He showed up on media day, but uh, a few games in, he finally plays. They actually looked pretty good, and we as fans said, "Hey, this looks pretty good. The Knicks they're doing this with ease. Let's see where they're going to be at the end of the season. This may be one of the best offense of all time." Teams made a few adjustments, and for the rest of the season, the Knicks struggled. It was a grind to make the offense look good. It never looked good at all. Um, and just never found a solution. Like, I think when you have the right coach, um, I, I kind of liken it to like the Lakers situation when Shaq and Kobe weren't quite in sync. They were calling Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson's whole job was to make those getting the maximum out of those two guys. I think that's kind of where we're at. It's like, okay, we can't have a situation where Cat is struggling. We can't have a situation where JB is struggling to bring the ball up court. Like, what are you doing to make his path clear? What are you doing to make this offense work like it's supposed to? You bring in Mikael Bridges. You paid a dear price. I don't think it was overpay, just because some of the details. You ultimately got like a pristine commodity. You got someone who's never been injured, who's on a low contract that's going to keep you under the second apron for 2 years. Five picks. You paid for a situation. You paid for a situation. You didn't just pay for a certain amount of talent. You paid for a situation. I think Mikael Bridges' experience was horrific this year. He was just bounced off screens all game. He wasn't shooting open shots. He wasn't hardly shooting 3 pointers unless it was in the corner. I think the Mikael Bridges situation, what I think was probably the nail in the coffin. Like his his experience was just brutal, and Tibbs never eased it. Why is he getting smashed off screens every game? And that just became his job. And now you're going to ask Mikael Bridges to extend the contract with someone who's just going to smash him off screens every game, and he has no problem doing it. That's not sustainable. I think that's probably one of the bigger points of why he was let go. Um, So the Knicks, he had 5 seasons with the Knicks. Last year he had an extension, so he has 3 years. They never said how much it was, but I think it's around $8 million a year. So Tom Thibodeau has $24 million coming to him over the next 3 years. I don't know what he does from here. Does he take another gig, or does he, do a little broadcasting? There's all these new jobs available. But I know some people, we've had some arguments about, oh, could he get another job? I think he absolutely can get a job now, and is at the perfect time of the year. Um, Absolutely, he could be an assistant anywhere. Being a head coach, if it's a young team, I think he definitely could coach a young team. I think I think people will look at the Knicks experience and they'll not look down on it at all. They're like, he brought them from nowhere to here. Let's bring Tom Thibodeau in to bring us from nowhere to here. Um, so at this time, let me just we're just gonna look at the tweet the tweet that Shams put out, and they put it as he had a follow up tweet. Sorry, in his tweet it says the Knicks are singularly focused on their pursuit of a championship and believe a new voice will serve as a focus for the organization's next step. Sources said after 5 seasons with the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau is out as head coach. Who are those voices? Well, there was a little bit of news, a little blurb yesterday that Johnny Bryant, who everybody has been clamoring for, um, who was up in Cleveland after not coming back with the Knicks, he's up for the Suns job, and he's one of the last two finalists. So you have to think, did the Knicks make the move now? So Johnny Bryant they can swoop in for Johnny Bryant before he takes the Suns head job. That can be a possibility. I haven't heard anything, but that's a possibility. Outside of that, um, historically, I think you should go with a brand new coach. When I say brand new, I don't think you should bring somebody from overseas, but a talented mind, and then surround them with stabling influences. Like I've said before, I like Rajon Rondo just because he's been on multiple championship teams. He's been with multiple championship groups, and he's been the leader for them. Not only that, he's had strong personalities. He's played with superstars. I think that's the type of person you want teaching Jalen Brunson. I think that's one of the person who are going to look at the problem Jalen Brunson's at and find a solution. I think he's used to playing with KG. He's used to playing with Kobe. He's used to playing with those type of players, and I don't think any of this is going to phase him. I don't think the New York experience is going to phase him because he's been in LA. He's been on these championship teams. I don't think. I think he's kind of the type of guy. If you're going to start from scratch, that you want. Um, but if you want to talk established people are always going to put Mike Malone. Mike Malone was on Denver. Um, they fired him right before the playoffs, which is absolutely stupid. But the complaint with Mike Malone was that he was too stuck on his ways. And I don't know if that is what the Knicks need. Um, Last year, I was probably thinking of the UConn men's coach, and Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley was another name because he was up for the Lakers job a couple of years ago, and he stayed because he says it was too far. He wanted to stay near his family in the Jersey area. So you naturally think, hey, the Knicks job and Dan Hurley, maybe that's a good pairing. The one thing about Dan Hurley, I was really on board until the NCAA tournament this year, and he lost, and he absolutely lost it. Like he at the end of the game, he like cursed everybody out. He had absolute fit. Like he lost control, and I was like, the level of scrutiny New York could he couldn't have an output burst like that with the Knicks and it not be a huge issue. Um, but he's an amazing coach. He's an amazing coach. I think if they do have they cast a wide net and they're going to interview everybody, yeah, you definitely have to bring him in. You definitely have to bring him in. I'd just like to shoot salute everybody in the chat. We have 6 people watching. If there's anything you have any questions, just throw it in chat. Hit the like button. Um, so yeah, so I'm just kind of shocked here. I think the Knicks will move quickly. Um, I'm I'm kind of shocked that there isn't. I, I know I'm quick on it, but within the hour, I expect a statement, a statement that we're gonna put a large coaching search, or we have a couple of candidates, something. But we know that a coach will have bearing in the draft. So whatever is going to be happening, it will definitely happen before the draft. The Knicks also have personnel moves to think. The Knicks like to be early on it, and the Knicks like to be pursuing moves even before the draft. So I think we're looking at the latest mid June new coach taking over. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Again, this is big news. We will be live later on the Nick of Time show, so please look out. Uh, Later tonight, the Nick of Time show crew, I'm going to be joining them. We're going to get a lot more stats together. We're going to get more candidates together so we can talk about it intelligently. I just wanted to bring you the greatest, the breaking news. And thank everybody for being here. And you guys have a good day.